This is a really simple way of sprouting your legumes. Seeds and legumes and grains will all ferment at different rates. And again, the temperature, because we're just working with the microbes, we're working with Earth's temperature, they are going to affect then how quickly your product sprouts. Now, let's just take, for example, the chickpeas. They've been soaking for 48 hours. That gives us already a start of these little kind of tadpole tails. That's starting to tell us that that enzyme activity is just starting to burst through. You know, it wants to start growing a plant now. So you simply soak it. I like to soak them for 24 hours first. I'm going to do a decanting. This water, you can see, it's quite an interesting color. That gets thrown away, but don't just throw it down your sink. Pour this into your garden where your vegetables and your plants are growing. And then we're going to restock our bottle. We're going to pour these back into the bottle. And we're going to add another soaking of water. If we tend to leave it in its first soaking of water, you might tend to find that there's a ferment starting to happen. We don't really want this to ferment because we're not really making cultured chickpeas as yet. You know, we can later on, but for now, when you're just starting off and you want to try your hand at sprouts, the cleaner your water, the better your product will be, simply because we also have pathogenic microbes in the atmosphere as well, and we don't want this turning into a big mush of rot. We want to create an enzyme action happening, but we want to be able to either eat these or then cook them as well, so you can make a raw hummus as well from this. So your second soaking, you can see the water again is clear. Probably by the next 24 hours, the water will be a little less tainted than the first soak. In the first soaking, there will be a lot of tannins, a lot of phytates in that water. And it's the tannins and the phytates that are the obstruction for us actually digesting them well and even absorbing the nutrients in them. So can you see how we're starting to take our health to not just the next step, but we're kind of going up in big leaps where we're sprouting our food. And all our digestive diseases start because our food is not digestible. We're just simply not digesting what we are taking from the packages, and even if we're just taking these chickpeas and cooking them. So this is taking away all these diseases that have become the norm, you know, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, you know, children with allergies. You know, an allergy is simply a mechanism for the body to say, there is something in my system bugging it. It's creating my immune system to go absolutely berserk. Put these same people on a diet where everything gets sprouted first, where we start eating food that's rich in bacteria and probiotics and prebiotics, and these allergies fall away. You know, Crohn's disease, skin rashes, eczema, all these types of things are just simply what is happening to our food and how we eating it. And what are we doing to it before we actually eat it? So that's really just so simple. And again, I always like to go a step further. I'll take my sprouting to about the third day. So again, 24 hours later, I'll decant this. Already you can see the water is starting to discolor a little more. So tomorrow, the same time in the afternoon, I'll throw that water into my garden and I'll re-soak them. So seeds like this, you know, your chickpea is a really difficult legume to digest. And this is why old cultures actually ferment their soybeans first. You know, tempeh is a fermented soybean. Tofu is a boiled and a boiled and a boiled soybean. Nothing has been done to that soybean to change its enzyme. It's still full of phytates. It's still full of enzyme blockers. But, you know, take that same soybean, sprout it, ferment it. You now have something that is so bioavailable. The nutrients in that become so available to us. So if you take these two seeds, alfalfa seeds and a chickpea, they're going to sprout at different rates. There'll be different ways of sprouting with them. and basically just use your kitchen as a playground. You know, play around, it doesn't matter. Throw this in your compost heap if it goes a little bit moldy, and start again. So really just have a lot of fun with this. There's no wrong, as in you haven't done anything wrong. If it ferments in a bad way, if we have a pathogenic bug that enters the bottle, which does happen, throw that out and let that sprout in the garden, and then plow that back into your soil to create nitrogen for your next crop coming through. So there's no wastage here, none at all.